Hello, my name is Xavier Dolléans. I am a cinematographer. I work mainly on TV series, and I just shot the TV series Germinal, on which I used the Lightstream system from Dedolight.
Allez, restez pas dans mon patron.
I have never used a system comparable to the Lightstream system. I have never in my lighting philosophy, in my way of lighting. So on Germinal, as a result of all the miners' environments, images that were marked by great beams of light in the smoke, very smoky environments. I wanted this smoke to be marked with beams. I wanted there to be effects like that in the smoke. I wanted to use Molebeams. I asked my chief electrician to find out about all the Molebeams. We made a list by power. We wanted tungsten. There was no stock of Molebeams at all. There was nothing available, at least not for the duration and not in the quantity that we wanted. So I remembered a product that I saw at the AFC Micro Salon on the Cartoni stand. It was the DPB70 from the Lightstream range, which is a big projector with a parabola, a 1200 watt HMI lamp. And this dish refocuses the beams, and I was really seduced. So I discovered how it works. That is, I discovered this parabol concentrates, reconcentrates the beams, and above all, at the exit, makes them very, very parallel. So much so that as a result, the source appears about 20 meters behind where it really is. So I found out that there were also small sources on which you can add a beam intensifier, the DPBA 1419, including 400 watts HMI. And I found that there was in the whole range what I needed to attack Germinal. I did some tests. We did some photometric measurements, and the PB70, when you measure, in fact we realize that we are more or less like in the center of an 18K spotter. It's really very, very interesting to have such output with only one lamp of 1200 watts HMI. The dish, I think, is very interesting since it makes the beam very, very parallel, and it gives the impression that the source is further away. This is great because we always have this problem of distance to the sources, and to put the sources as far away as possible to make it look credible. So to have that is interesting, and coupled to the mirror of the Lightstream system, the source appears even further away. We can put it close, and so like virtually, it is a little further away, plus a mirror that allows a bounce. There, all of a sudden, we have sources which are finally close to the windows, but with beams that give the impression that they are very, very far away. And coupled to these mirrors, we have the possibility to have a very pitted beam without having to put the sources very high. This is very interesting because now the installations, we just put a very high mirror, but the mirror is very light, so it's much easier to put sources like that and to secure a mirror at 5, 6, 10 meters high on bridges or hanging, because it is quite light. And the source is on the ground. It bounces on the mirror, and we have an entry angle that is very, very strong. As if the source was 25 meters high and much further away than it is. So in light, it's very interesting. It allows to make very strong incoming beams with really sharp angles. And then, in this Lightstream range, there are mirrors of different hardness. 4 mirror hardness that will allow either to have sharp beams or beams a little more spread out or even completely diffused. And these are also things that we used on Germinal, that I used to vary a little bit of the light ambiances within the different sequences shot during our shooting days. Because Germinal is marked by seasonality, and we need it. It starts in the fall and it ends in the spring. It goes within the autumn-winter, and within the same day we had to shoot things of different seasons, and just changing the hardness of the mirrors and a little bit the color of the gelatins to put on the sources, we succeeded. We were able to change the look quite quickly, so to take advantage of this system of mirrors that I found really interesting. So it's funny, because at the beginning I came to Dedolight to have sources of a power a little bit more comparable to a Molebeam HMI, a little bit strong. So I was interested in the PB70 with the 1200 watt lamp. What's great about the PB70 is that because it's 1200 watt lamp, it works on a classic 16 amp socket. And that can solve a lot of places on set, all the places where a generator could not approach, or the places where sometimes we had to move the generator before on set. This allowed us to remain autonomous on classic mains connections and still have power output. Enormous, since as we were saying earlier, the PB70, it is still an output equivalent to an 18K HMI at the center of the beam. So it's quite amazing to be able to concentrate and to work with 16 amps with this source. And then, when I discovered the Lightstream system of Dedolight, I said to myself, this is an opportunity for me to use hard light indirectly. Plus, with a system that is made for, that is to say, that you have mirrors that are all the same size, that are hard, and that have been calibrated. That's pretty much it. It's quite interesting in practice, and it brings creativity in the light. And what was also interesting, I think, is that at the same time, the light really gives the impression that the light is further away than it is, and that was something. Obviously we know that. Obviously we think about it like that. But to live it concretely on the set, seeing the actors evolve while the sources were still technically close enough technically, I found it very interesting for me to explore in light. What I liked with the Lightstream system is that it gives the impression that the light is far, far away. Even that the light is infinite like the sun. That is to say, it gives the impression of a very natural beam of solar type, very, very parallel. And when the actors move around the room, they overexpose much less easily as they approach the window, because the beam is parallel and the source is really far away. Yes, I think the Lightstream system, that would be a system that I would use again. And I think it would even be a basic kit, so not necessarily on the PB70, which is the much larger version, but on the 400 for sure. 2 DLH400 with the basic reflector kit now in the list, because it allows you to do things in terms of flexibility, creativity. It allows me to do things that I wasn't doing before. So yes, I'm really interested. That's part of my core team. So for me, the Lightstream system, it's two things. It's one, to have very tight beams, very sharp, very strong, live, that I've used live, that is very great. And 2, the indirect use. The use is indirect. As soon as you use a source in indirect on a mirror, it appears further away. And in addition, the projector itself, because of its concentration of the parabola, makes all that we say virtually. The source is already 20 meters behind the projector itself. So when we add the mirrors to that, we give the impression of a very natural light inside. When the actors move, we don't have a feeling of overexposure. When they get closer to the source, because the source really seems much further away. So for me, this is really the true interest of the Lightstream system and the use of the DPB70 or the DLH400 as far as light beams are concerned.